Folks, we're joined in studio by Rome Mayor Joe Fusco. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing?
Good
Morning, Kristine.
Thanks for coming.
Throwing stuff. Sorry.
How's that iPhone working?
It would work much better if I could just keep a hold of it.
We are happy to say that Kristine Bellino will be serving on the panel. She will be a panelist at the pre-primary debate coming up Wednesday night at the Capitol Theater in Rome. You have 4 challengers, Mayor. There's 5 in the race, of course. Yourself, a pair of Democrats, Michael Brown and Lou Dinello. Ramona Smith is a Democrat as well, and then Jacqueline Izzo is challenging on the Republican line. 5 candidates in the race. Again, the primary coming up on Wednesday night. I asked you just before we went on who you have the backing of, and I was surprised to hear you don't.
Well, don't be surprised. The process of endorsements is very highly politically charged, and I've had to fight this the whole time. Every race that I've ever run, I've had to fight that fight because I'm not part of the system, and I come out and I have the endorsement of the people, and that's the endorsement that I need, and that's the endorsement that I want because those are the people that I work for. When
you ran last time and defeated Jim Brown, did you have party endorsement?
Nope, I had to. I ran him in a primary on the conservative ticket, my own party. Again, the powers that be in that party, it's very politically charged, very politically motivated. But I beat him in that primary, and then I beat him in the final race with a conservative line and an independent line that I established myself.
Do you have that line as well?
I filed petitions for an independent line. Rome is home, and that's the way we'll head into this. The same way we've always done. Just the way it's got to be. Like I said, I need the support of the people if they want me to continue doing what we've been doing for the last 3.5 years.
In the last couple of weeks, we've talked to your 4 opponents, Michael Brown, Lou Dinello, Ramona Smith, and Jacqueline Izzo. Lou Dinello wanted to talk about what he's done for the city. I know he's been on the school board. He didn't want to say anything negative. The other 3, though, were very critical of the economy in the city of Rome, and they took some shots at you as not doing enough to develop.
It doesn't surprise me because when you have nothing else to shoot at, you try to tear down the other guy because you're bringing nothing to the table. None of those 3 candidates bring any experience whatsoever to the table. I know the word experience has been used by some of them, but it really doesn't exist. They're not engaged in the community by no means. We just had we have business after hours sponsored by the chamber all the time. And we just recently had one up to the tech park at the Earth Center, and none of them showed up. None of them. And this is an opportunity for them to talk to the business owners, employees, people that are working in businesses that are growing in the community. We've got almost 6,000 jobs at that tech park. And, we added nearly a little over 60 new businesses to the city of Rome just in the last few years. So I really think the biggest problem they have is that they're not connected with the community at all.
Mayor Fusco, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment as mayor of the city of Rome?
I think bringing the investment, both private and public investment, to the community. When I first took over, I sat down, I brought in some developers and said, look, guys, we need to start building some houses, building some new residencies in the city of Rome. And they all told me, show us why. So we went back to work. We invested in a housing market study. We invested the time and energy into a housing summit, first time it's ever been done in the city of Rome. We brought developers and prospective buyers together and let them talk amongst each other to see what they felt was needed, what they wanted to invest in. And that worked. Buck Construction came back to the table immediately thereafter. We worked on housing incentives. We've changed our zoning codes to help, help spur development. And they brought in, a beautiful housing development. And on the heels of that, we have another development starting over on Bilby Road. We've got investment in our downtown buildings for downtown lots. We have over $10 million right now of private investment in our housing stock. And housing stock is a huge void that we've had. There hasn't been a housing project developed in the city of Rome, a large one, market rate, in over 30 years. And we're doing that. We're making it happen. The Lieutenant Governor here last week, we're discussing Nano. huge news for our area. It's one of those linchpins that we've been waiting for. And when we told her that we'll have control of nearly 100 acres right outside the gates of the tech park, I shouldn't say gates of the tech park. There are no gates. It's wide open for anybody to come and go. But within walking distance of almost 6,000 jobs, and within a 12 to 15-minute commute of the nano investment. And with water, sewer, gas, power, everything right there, she was shocked because, and as well she should be, because there are not a lot of communities around that have that kind of developable real estate right on the doorstep, right where it needs to be.
And that acquisition was something for which you were criticized. And now
absolutely. Again, the same people that are criticizing us for no development here, there, and everywhere were criticizing me for taking possession of that property. That property should have been taken possession of 20 years ago, but nobody had the guts to do it. Thank God I did it when we did, and with help of the council and help with my staff, who worked very hard, and we're still working hard to obtain the rest of the Wright Park Manor property. The value of that property just went through the roof with the influx of this of the nano information. So we've positioned ourselves very well. I'm also very proud of the fact that I sat down and worked with Senator Griffo, Assemblyman Brindisi. We were able to capture $8.5 million for infrastructure in investment, and that was one of the things that I said 4 years ago. I came to everyone with a list, with a plan of how we're going to go about changing our area. And you can go on my website and you can see the 7 points that I stated 4 years ago, and you can see where we have, and we meaning my administration, the councilors, our local senators, assemblymen, our Congressman Hanna. I've worked well with all those people to bring success to each one of those points. And I think that's critical to anybody to say that there isn't a plan in place. One candidate saying that they're going to have a plan to bring us back from the post-base loss. Get on board, man. That was 20 years ago. We have moved past that. We are growing. We are expanding. We have got things going on in the city of Rome that have never been done before. We've got projects that have been sitting on the shelf for decades. They're coming off the shelf. We're blowing off the dust. We're getting them done. It's not enough to say, well, this was going on in so-and-so's time. No, it wasn't. All you had was a picture. All you had was a painting. And in some cases, you actually had some money, but it was, again, sitting on the shelf, not being used. We're using it. We're putting that money to work. We're investing, and we're doing outstanding stuff in the city of Rome.
You mentioned money sitting on the shelf, and I'll bring it up because it was one of the specific criticisms by one of your challengers. The claim was that the previous administration had secured grant funding for trail development, basically. That money, it was said, has been sitting there, and now the city and your administration is working to get that out there after sitting on it for almost a full term. Your response to that?
I haven't been sitting on anything. What I did when I came and took over, the trail project was sitting on the shelf. It had died by the previous administration. He had put it in the hands of people who were not capable of getting it done. I put it in the hands of our planning department and our engineering and our corporation council. As a group, they worked together to get that plan off the shelf, get the rest of the right-of-ways that we needed to have. Before we could even design the plan, we had to know where the trail was going to go. And that's where it had died years ago, long before even the previous administration. This trail project has been around for a decade and more. And my people got it done. I'm sorry. This trail project could have been done 6-7 years ago if they had stayed on top of it and gotten their work done. They didn't. We did. We're getting it finished. The same way with the harbor project. The same way with the project that we're doing with the canal building. We went out, we got the money, and we're doing the work. And when guys like Brian Stratton from the Canal Corp come and see that we're just not, okay, we've got your money, you gave it to us 3 years ago, here's the pretty pictures that we're going to do with it. We're not doing that. You gave us the money last year. Look, the exterior of the building is done. Look across the street. The paving is done. The road work is done. The docks are in. The landing for the boats is done. We have the shell of the pavilion up. We didn't have enough money to build the whole project. And that was the problem the last time. When they designed this project, put it out to bid, it came in so high they didn't have the money to do it. But we took the money that we did have, and we got the project going. Now the state sees that it's up and running and sees that we have made some progress. They're willing to give us more because they're not going to give you more if you're not doing anything. And this administration, I'm very proud to say, is doing the projects. We're getting things done. We may be doing them in stages. We may not be completing them all at once, but we're getting them done. You got to remember, folks, the river project is supposed to go all the way to Delta Dam. We got the first section done. Rather than trying to do the whole thing at once, we focused on one good section. We got all the work done that needed to be done, and it's functioning, and people are loving it.
Would you say any of the criticism lobbed at you by your opponents is valid? Would you say there's some
Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. I will take each and every one of them on one-on-one, including the woman who has been a counselor for the last 12 years. Where has she been while this money was sitting on the shelf? She's never come into my office and asked me about it. And that's another interesting point about these folks that have now decided all of a sudden overnight that they're going to run for mayor. Where have they been for the last 3.5 years? None of them have come into my office with an idea, or even so much with a criticism. So, if you're going to be, if you have all these ideas for your community, if you love your community, if you want to become a part of it, you need to be a part of it, like I have for the last 30 years of my life. Long before I got involved in politics, I was involved in my community. I was on the group that started the Canal Fest. I've been with Relay for Life for almost 15 years. I've been part of the Little Leagues and the Pop Warners, building fields and dugouts and parking lots. I've been a part of it. I understand the community. I understand its wants and needs, and we're working to that end. And we've made some, when you talk about parks and recreation, which is extremely important when you're trying to bring people into your community to rebuild your population that will, in fact, rebuild your tax base, you've got to make it a community that welcomes them. And they've got to see that you're putting an effort into the Little League fields, the softball fields. We've got some great groups that do some phenomenal things, and they do it all on volunteer time. So they've got to have a little bit of help from the city. I don't just open the floodgates and write checks for them, but we work together. We make improvements, and it helps out the economy.
All right, Rome Mayor Joe Fusco, the incumbent mayor in the city of Rome, facing 4 challengers. A pre-primary debate going on Wednesday night at Rome's Capitol Theater. Mayor, what lines will you be appearing on in the primary?
On the Republican line.
On the Republican line. Okay, once again, the debate Wednesday night, Rome's Capitol Theater from 7 to 8:30. It's free to attend, and it's a debate we plan to carry live here on WIBX. Our very own Kristine Bellino will be on the panel. Mayor, thanks for stopping by.
Jeff, if I could make a little splash for our September 8th, the Wine and Beer Summit at the Capitol. We will be exposing our first video for our marketing plan, which is something else that no one's ever done. We've got a full-fledged marketing plan that we've invested in, and I've got to tell you folks out there, get to the Capitol, check out this video. It's going to blow you away.